A club is mainly a hunting ground for emotional predators and cheap thrills. The risk of being falsely accused of just about anything is what is surrounding you there. Buying chicks drinks so they can get drunk and go home with another dude doesn't sound like a good time to me. Because finding a good woman in a club is not like finding a needle in a haystack. It's like finding a single non-magnetic needle in a field full of haystacks. Nightclubs aren't what they used to be or what people think they are today. We can all agree on that. When you go to a nightclub, you'll see that there are a lot of people waiting in queues outside to enter. The bouncers keep an eye out to make sure only the attractive girls and the guys who are with attractive women are allowed entry. The strange thing is that everyone appears to believe that the club would be packed with people enjoying a great time inside. It's not quite as crowded as it looks from the outside. And even in the winter, you see women waiting outside with almost nothing but high heels, shivering in the cold, and you wonder why they would go to such lengths for a single night out at the club. To be completely honest, I didn't think much about this before I took the RP and went on to go my own way. These women showed everyone on TikTok and Instagram about how they were foodies and looking for Brad to buy their drinks for free, accuse the guy of false allegation, and then go home with Chad at 3 a.m. They have rules and contempt for Brad, but have promiscuity and lust for Chad, and now they found out they have to pay for their own drinks and it angers them. If you're a Brad, go your own way and stay out of bars. And if you're a Chad, give them what they want and keep them on the CC until they age out. Let them pay for their choices in the long run. I reflected on how foolish these individuals must be for spending hours waiting outside of clubs and for women to queue up while wearing high heels in the chilly weather. We've all heard that wearing high heels is meant to enhance a woman's beauty by emphasizing her curves and defining the contour of her legs. However, we rarely hear that wearing high heels affects men's behavior. Honestly, I just think that men have found better ways to occupy their leisure time than going to clubs. The pandemic taught men how to enjoy themselves at home or do something constructive outside. This way, you can enjoy your time and actually enrich your life without having to waste $30 or $40 on overpriced alcohol and getting rejected over and over again. A recent study from Europe suggested high heels help women get whatever they want from men more efficiently. In an experiment, the study had women wearing flats and heels stand on the street to try and get people to respond to the survey. The woman wearing flats barely had anyone stop for the survey. The woman wearing small heels had more than half of the men stop by and respond to her questions eagerly. And when the woman wore a big heel, nearly all men stopped to help her with the survey. For me, high heels are like a test because it's statistically proven it does something to men that make them want to go above and beyond to cater to what women want. And women know this. They use this. And men keep falling for the high heel trap. But if a man is aware and awakens regarding the reality behind high heels, he can easily pass the test. So be warned, guys. Don't just go running to help that damsel in distress who's wearing high heels. It's a test. Because if men give in to the high heel temptation, it will only lead to them buying drinks and food for women who will just be using their heels to their advantage. I mean, the whole idea of high heels being a symbol of patriarchy is contradictory. Why would men be willingly manipulated to cater to the needs of women wearing high heels who are only wearing them to get what they want, right? It really doesn't make sense. Why do women who probably have dozens of shoes still prefer wearing high heels? They know it's their special weapon to get what they want. It all comes down to women wanting power over men. During my clubbing days, when I chose to go with women who wore flats and pants instead of heels and those really short skirts, they were constantly ignored by bouncers who let the women with the heels and skirts inside the club. Maybe they looked more like club material, or maybe it was their vulnerability out in the cold and open that let the bouncers make their decision. I believe it's a bit of both. Because when a woman who's barely wearing anything walks past a club, it automatically attracts attention not only to her, but to the club as well, which is what the club wants. I think this is one of the main reasons why men who are swimming in the BP pool line up to such clubs, where there's always a line of women in miniskirts and heels, shivering in the cold. It brings up this urge to protect them, and when they go inside, they buy drinks for them to try to make them warm and comfortable. And you know what? Once women realize they have power over men in this clubbing culture, they tend to maximize the exploitation. You're the person she'll lean on the whole night to have a really good time, and she might even puke in your car on the way back, which is something women think is totally okay for some reason. Even cab drivers mostly try to avoid drunk women for the same reason. However, these nights are when cab drivers make the most money, and then they're on the bouncers. They have their own dynamics. Usually, women make friends with them, enchant them, and entice them into letting them into clubs. And the women stay in touch with them to know which clubs they work at so they can avoid the lines outside and get preferential treatment. In order to have some social standing and someone to watch over them while they are sipping the beverages that guys buy them, they even date bouncers. Because they can take advantage of men, including bouncers and the men who buy them drinks inside, women will do anything to stay in the club scene. I also am certain most men are learning that for 80% of men, there are absolutely no reasonable means within their grasp to overcome that which makes them unattractive and unacceptable to 80% of women, because most men aren't over 6 in height, and most do not possess the facial qualities women have deemed as mandatory in terms of attractiveness. And if you do not meet most women's highly unrealistic expectations of height and physical looks, the only way to overcome this is by a man being in the top 5% or above of income, and that eliminates 95% of men in of its own, and such men usually do not need to go clubbing to get women. And if such wealthy men go clubbing, they more often than not are known to a significant percentage of the women in the club, and they will pursue him as much as he wants or lets them. Women in their prime go to clubs in order to live off of the attention and validation they receive from men of all sizes and ages. Young girls who frequent clubs are real crowd pullers too. They raise the level of that club and enable more ticket sales, along with the sales of drinks inside. Since everybody wants to go to clubs that are frequented by young and beautiful girls in their prime, the brand equity of those clubs increases exponentially. Clubbing isn't what it used to be. Now, it's about a bunch of thirsty men who are incredibly low value, simping after average girls who are only looking for the validation they're addicted to. And in all of this, the owners of the clubs make profits and entire generations get wasted on alcohol and waste away their resources on meaningless things trying to chase the wrong man and woman. The reality is that you can easily waste several $100 clubbing on a run-of-the-mill Friday or Saturday night. You'll have precious little to show for it. Sick from booze, in bed alone is how it will typically end. Just save the money or buy something useful you want. You won't have fun anyway if you go clubbing, and the women are only going to exploit the F out of you to end up going home with the regular Chads and Tyrons. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.